You've dreamed of places to go. You promised one day. Now, one day is here. New adventures. Wide open spaces. So, you can't travel the world right now. So what? New South Wales is here for you. Let's all reboot 2020. One unforgettable experience at a time. Now's the time to love New South Wales.
Italiano on the right, he slips it through for D'Agostino, and out of nothing, Australia are all square. Their best chance, virtually their only chance of the first half, and Nick D'Agostino tucks it away. Nicely created by Piscopo, and Australia are level at 1-1. Piscopo. Little scoot forward, nice beautiful by Piscopo, goes back, chance here, 2-1 Australia, Nick D'Agostino again. And that was superbly worked by the Olyroos. Lovely little scoop over the top by Piscopo. Gersbach put it in the box, and D'Agostino did the rest. A brace for him, and Australia hit the front for the first time. Bacchus first to the loose ball. Now there could be a bit of space appearing. Piscopo threads it through beautifully. It's Rami Najareen, and Australia have the advantage with their first effort on goal, and Rami Najareen called up in place of Jacob Italiano today. Slots it home with the left foot, and again Piscopo involved. Australia a goal to the good.
Looks to be a front three. Neil looking for Al Hassan Toure, who's through on goal. Oh, what a finish that is! And is that the goal to send the Olyroos through to the semi-final? Al Hassan Toure, he did it in the FFA Cup. Has he done it right here for his nation?
From the coaching staff at halftime, lovely pass allowing D'Agostino to face forward and wriggle his way through. Nick D'Agostino with a massive goal for Australia. His third of the tournament, and it is a priceless one. The Perth Glory youngster, 21 years of age, puts Australia in front and on course for Tokyo 2020. What a finish.
Yes, and a very warm welcome to Jubilee Stadium, where thankfully a rather cooler change has swept through the city of Sydney after 2 very warm days, and where this afternoon the Olyroos play the second of their 2 hit-outs against the A-League new boys Macarthur FC. My name is Simon Hill, and we're live across the FFA social sites and on KO. FFA Technical Director Trevor Morgan is alongside again for the call, and the big question is whether the under-23s can get off to a better start than they did against Sydney last Thursday when they were 3-0 down by the 18-minute mark. Here's the team news. 4 changes for the Olyroos. From that game against Sydney, Joel King and Brandon Wilson have jetted off to the Champions League. Rami Najareen and Daniel Bauman are rotated out. Connor O'Toole, Aidan O'Neill, Connor Metcalf and Angus Thurgate are the replacements, with Tom Glover skippering the side. Denny Jonro plays against his parent club. Now, talking of that parent club, Macarthur FC, here's how they line up. They select Nick Suman in goal, with Adam Federici not listed in the squad today. Trialist Walter Scott gets another chance to impress at left back. 80 times capped Socceroo Mark Milligan leads the side, which also includes ex-English Premier League striker Matt Derbyshire, who won 2 golden boots with his most recent club, that being Ammonia in Cyprus. Well, the sun coming out right on cue here at Jubilee Stadium. No fans allowed inside the ground today. As I say, Trevor Morgan, FFA Technical Director, is alongside for the call. Good to see you, Trevor. We're going to talk about pathways, which is a very key topic at the moment in football in Australia, and several of these Olyroos that are going to be on show here today. We'll start with Tas Mordakutis. It sort of underscores the pathway that we want to see our young players taking. He started off at the Marrickville Red Devils, member obviously Football New South Wales Federation here in Sydney, and currently plays for the Wanderers.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognise those pathways, because everyone takes joy in them when they play for the national team, and it's interesting that each player has a very different pathway, whether they're born overseas, born here, spend time overseas and come back, or even move around the country. It's really important to see that each one of them is a progressive step to becoming a better footballer.
All right, let's have a look at two or three others. Lachlan Wales, who of course is a native of Terrigal, is junior club Terrigal United. Started off in the A-League, of course, with the Central Coast Mariners, and now with Western United via Melbourne City. He's moved around a fair bit despite being only 22, 23.
Yeah, definitely, and that's obviously one of the challenges of the A-League is not all the players get long-term contracts, but I think the important thing for Lockie is he's starting to rack up match after match after match and stay at a high level, and that's important for his development.
Let's have a look at Nathaniel Atkinson, who of course was due to sign for Perth Glory, but COVID has done for that. A native of Tasmania. We don't see too many Taswegians in the A-League. He started off at Riverside Olympic and now is of course back with Melbourne City.
Yeah, hopefully it'll inspire more young players in Tasmania to aspire to the top level. Obviously he's done fantastically well with Melbourne City over the last couple of seasons, and looking forward to pushing for a berth at the Olympic Games.
Now skipping the team today, the Australian under-23s is Tom Glover, a native of Bangor in New South Wales. Started off with the Menai Hawks, and of course his career path has been a very interesting one, Trevor. He went overseas with Tottenham Hotspur, learnt under the likes of Hugo Lloris and the legendary Pat Jennings, your club. I know you're a big Spurs man. Came back briefly to the Mariners, struggled to establish himself, and then went to Helsingborg in Sweden on loan, and has now really made the first team jersey his own with Melbourne City.
Yeah, and I suppose he'd like to follow the trajectory that Aaron Moy had, coming back to the city after some experience overseas and then trying to work his way back to the top leagues in the world. But fantastic for Tommy that he's keeping on chasing the path of a professional career. And
last but by no means least, the Port Macquarie Pele, Angus Thurgate.
Yeah, I really love watching Angus play, and obviously it's great to see him representing his home club. Hopefully that's not the final step for him, but I'd look forward to him having another great season for the Jets.
I know that Cole Robinson, during his time with the Jets, was a big fan of Angus Thurgate and said he expected him to be on the plane to Tokyo. Well, Tokyo is still a few months away. There are only 4 FIFA windows, really, for these youngsters to impress Graham Arnold and make that very small squad. There is Liam Rose, formerly of the Central Coast Mariners, now getting another chance in the A-League with the competition's new boys, Macarthur FC, who are about to embark upon their inaugural campaign under the leadership of Ante Milicic, who of course was a former FFA colleague of Graham Arnold, his opposite number today, following his role with the Matildas, but now looking to spearhead a finals charge with the Bulls in their very first season. They are still very much in the building phase ahead of their campaign, but all the contracted players, bar Denny Jonro and Adam Federici, is absent today on the squad list. So we're all set. A bit of a breeze around Jubilee Stadium, but temperatures much more comfortable for the players than they would have been in the last couple of days. Referee Ben Abraham gets us underway with a blast on the whistle, and it is the Olyroos in their new kits, kicking from right to left. And not a particularly great first touch from Keanu Bacchus. Might have been pretty good in rugby union, that. Getting good territory, field position. And it'll be a goal kick for Macarthur FC, who did play a friendly themselves at the weekend. Sort of 2 halves, if you like. The first half against Bankstown United, which they won by 2-0, and the second half against another local side, the Macarthur Rams, which ended goalless. 2 different teams they played in the 2 45-minute halves. So Ante Milicic just moving a few things around, trying to test things out, find the right blend of youth and experience. What do you make of the squad that he's put together ahead of their inaugural A-League campaign, Trevor?
Look, it's going to be very exciting. Obviously, Ante and his team will be fantastic at preparing the team, but what's clear here is you have a mix of some senior talent like a Franic or a Milligan, Derbyshire, but then you have some youth internationals here, guys that have played under 17, under 20 for Australia, under 23, Alex Sujnar, those sorts of players that have been given an opportunity to mix in and learn from the senior players.
This is Kai Rolls looking to launch it upfield for the run of Lachlan Wales, and he's found it beautifully as well. Looking to jockey for position along with Alexander Jovanovic, but just over hitting it. And a goal kick for Macarthur. Lachlan Wales, who's, as mentioned, changed clubs during the off-season. He'll start with Western United when the A-League resumes, December the 27th. Nick Suman in goal today in place of Adam Federici, coolly out from the back. Franic just about managed to keep it alive. Connor O'Toole losing out to Michael Roos, former Sydney United player who's getting his first A-League opportunity this coming campaign.
Yeah, exciting young player. Michael travelled to the World Cup with the Joeys last year as part of the squad in Brazil. This is a chance for him to, break through at senior level, at A-League level. He's already played for Sydney United in the NPL quite a few times and scored some goals, so good chance for him to take another step.
This is Andonis Martis, tough tackling defensive midfielder.
Another Western Sydney boy who spent time the last couple of years over in Midtjylland, has come back on loan. He's only 20 years old, so it's exciting to see what he can bring.
Yeah, great opportunity to get those first team minutes under your belt as Sushnia assesses his options on that left-hand side. Slightly tricky release from Suman, but Mark Milligan showing all his qualities, the likes of which we've come to expect from him. Nathaniel Atkinson ghosting around one defender on that left-hand touchline, who was Walter Scott. But it's Macarthur FC who get the throw. And Graham Arnold said that he was quite pleased with the Olyroos display on Thursday against the A-League champions, apart from that sloppy first 15 minutes. Again, Lachlan Wales looking to be released by O'Toole this time, but sliding in was Jovanovic, and the only 23s will have a corner. Which Denny Genro will roll short for Bacchus, back for O'Toole. Genro again. Atkinson, little swivel of the hips to get rid of his opponent. Thurgate on the right. Low cross easily steered away by Sushnia. And we had the sprinkler going off there in the middle of the pitch at an inopportune moment, which Ben Abraham just casts a quizzical glance towards the sidelines as if to say, what on earth was that? I think we all thought the same thing. That would have been great, Trevor, if you were about to take a shot and that came came up in front of your face.
Yeah, definitely for the goalkeeper it could be a bit of a challenge. See the early intent here from the Bulls, how they want to play. They want to be a possession team, want to play it from the back. It's no surprise with how Ante works.
Very much so. And of course he's got great experience in terms of being involved in start-up clubs with Western Sydney Wanderers.
Definitely, and also with
Melbourne Hearts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably the go-to person in that realm.
Back in his sort of part of the world, I guess, given his playing days back in the NSL with Sydney Olympic, Parramatta Power, Sydney United as well. Here's Jovanovic. Lachlan Wales in hot pursuit. Two tall units in the heart of the Macarthur defence today. Jovanovic and Sushnia, both reasonably composed on the ball. The Olyroos have forced the turnover and the throw, which O'Toole will take.
Yeah, we actually had Alex Shushna with the under-23 national team a couple of years ago in China when Ante was head coach, and fantastic young talent. So I'm excited to see what he can bring this season.
Milligan reaching for it successfully. Good to see him back on home turf after his sojourn in Europe. Got to play in the Scottish Premier League with Hibs and then dropped down to the third tier in England with Southend. Didn't end particularly well for him in that part of the world.
No, but I'd take all the career learnings, 4 World Cups. What richness he brings in terms of leadership and quality to this squad in their first season.
He is also, of course, the very last of the golden generation still to be playing. Here come Macarthur through Moody Najjar. Not seen too much of Ante Milicic's team in attack so far. It's been the Olyroos who've done most of the early running. Franic, Michael Roos, put it straight to Conor Metcalf. It's neatly turned back by Thurgate, and they were trying to thread the needle there
Great
for the
intent.
run of Metcalf.
Yeah, great intent. What a ball.
Just a touch too much weight on it from Keanu Bacchus. There is Graham Arnold. Missing his Champions League players, of course, today. So a chance to look at some of the others as his squad for Tokyo next year starts to firm up. First time in 12 years, of course, the Australian men's team will be at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, tremendous opportunity. Be on the world stage of another big tournament. To have both teams there is fantastic.
And Arnie's not messing around, Trevor. We talked about this on Thursday. Says he wants to go there and try and win a medal. That's not a particularly good back pass, and it had Kyrol stretching and he couldn't reach it. Michael Roos on the right, faced by Conor O'Toole. Cross towards the back post where Najjar was, and then leaping for it was Matt Derbyshire. And there is a suggestion there of a handball. I'm not sure whether Ben Abraham, the referee, had actually already turned away in anticipation of Tom Glover gathering the ball here. Let's have another look.
Maybe a back pass they're calling for. I think Bacchus just
think you're right.
Played it a little bit, changed his mind.
O'Toole. Lachlan Wales caught on his heels. Suman has to get rid of it sharpish. This is Shushnia. Gets it back off Walter Scott. Former Perth Glory and Wellington Phoenix defender who's looking to secure a contract. The only trialist in the starting 11 for Macarthur. There are 1 or 2 more on the bench. Here's Franic. Derbyshire stretching for it but couldn't reach it. Mordakutis steers it forwards towards Aidan O'Neill. He was pretty good off the bench against Sydney on Thursday. Gets his chance from the off tonight. A big season ahead for Aidan O'Neill. Youngster who's got a lot expected of him after his early Premier League promise with Burnley. He's moved around the A-League a wee bit with the Mariners and Brisbane. As the Olyroos build-up play breaks down, and Moody Najjar tries to take on Mordakutis, but unsuccessfully. How big a season is this for Aidan O'Neill, do you think, Trevor?
I think always second and third season for a young pro, becoming consistent. You know, first year you surprise people a little bit with your talent, and in the coming years you've got to become much more consistent and regularly raise your level. So it's very important, especially with what's on offer with the Olympic Games as well.
Did of course provide a wonderful through ball for Al Hassan Touré's winner against Syria in the Olympic qualifiers. Australia taking the third and final spot in Tokyo after defeating Uzbekistan in that third, fourth place playoff. Here's Wales. Turned back by Jean-Roy for Rolls. Tasmore Curtis with time to assess the options. Nice incisive pass through the lines as well for Jean-Roy, and he links up with Connor O'Toole. Top of the box is Keanu Bacchus. Flat delivery. It wasn't a bad idea, was it? Steered away by Sushnia. O'Toole again. Looking to get some tail on it. Sushnia steers it clear. And Moody Najjar first to the loose ball. It's been a much better start by the Ollie Roos. Trevor, I saw you checking your watch there. We played 12 minutes.
Yeah,
they were 2-0 down by this time against Sydney.
Definitely, and it came from the kickoff. Although it wasn't successful in regaining possession, they established themselves in Macarthur's half of the pitch in that first few minutes. So just a positive feeling about the game being in the other team's half.
Forward by Mordakutis, turn around the corner by Thurgate, but it was a bit too hot to handle for Nathaniel Atkinson. And I suppose that cohesion of which they were really lacking in that opening 15-20 minutes against Sydney only comes with training regularly together and playing games, which they've had precious little of.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely was always going to be hard the first time together.
Oh, now Sushnia, strong challenge on Metcalf, but Ben Abraham happy enough. And they got themselves in a bit of a mess there. Macarthur through Jovanovic, real slice up into the air, and Sushnia was a touch clumsy on Metcalf.
I think they're the things that are going to happen during a game anyway, and it just comes back to your philosophy. It may happen a bit more in your back third if you're a team that wants to play out. It might happen with poor passes higher up the pitch if you go long all the time. So every now and then they're going to make a mistake, but he looks very calm anyway. It's just a bad touch. It is, though, quite clear the improved, I guess, the coordination of the pressing by the Ollie Roos. A bit more time in camp, and they understand what they've got to do a bit better, which is really positive for Graham. Those things you can build on in the next camp because they'll come back knowing what they're expected to do.
We've talked a lot in recent weeks about the report that the FFA put out, the participation gap, lack of minutes for young players. These are the sorts of opportunities and games and game time that they desperately need.
Yeah, for sure we've probably got at least 15 or 16 players under the age of 23 on the pitch. So exactly what we're looking for, those opportunities to play high-level matches.
Here's Atkinson, had time to get the head up and have a look. Tried the most difficult route into the penalty box. Find Thurgate, and that's clumsy challenge on Ivan Franjic, veteran of the A-League now, winner of 3 A-League titles with Brisbane Roar.
He's done all right.
He's done pretty well, hasn't he? Considering that Ange Postecoglou signed him as an injury replacement for Andrew Packer.
There you go.
All those years ago with Brisbane.
It's all about taking your opportunities, isn't it?
He's only supposed to be there for a short while. He ended up going to a World Cup and winning the Asian Cup with the Socceroos, as well as those 3 A-League titles. Quarter of an hour played at Jubilee Stadium, still goalless and not too much in terms of industry for either goalkeeper.
No, more of a tactical battle to start off with and just feeling each other out a bit because of, the Bulls are set up a little bit differently how I expected, but just looking at how they're keeping their shape, how they're pressing.
Square by Mordakutis for Jean-Roy. And the Ollie Roos nicely out of the press, but Lachlan Wales went a touch too early, Trevor.
Yeah. It's always the key moment, isn't it? Getting the timing right. You've got to play as close to the line as possible to have that advantage.
And if he times it right, he does have pretty good pace.
Yeah, definitely.
He's done away with the blonde hair, though.
Maybe you got one of my messages.
You're giving him some stick about it, have you?
No, I don't have close contact with Lockie, but I'm a fan of going natural.
Noted. Atkinson couldn't quite steer it in behind Walter Scott for Thurgate. All stayed in play on that far touchline.
That's that extra sprinklers coming on.
O'Neill had to take it first time with Milligan on his hammer. He did really well. Jean-Rowe. Mordakutis gets it back of his Wanderers teammate, Keanu Bacchus. Nice possession stuff by the Olyroos. O'Toole rolls all the way back to the under-23's captain, Tom Glover. Thurgate dropping deep. Atkinson. Must be up to near 20-30 passes in this particular sequence, and Metcalf will scythe it through the Macarthur back line for the run of Atkinson. Looks promising, this. And all that was missing, Trevor, was the final touch. That would have been some goal.
Yeah, I think Nathaniel will be a bit disappointed that he didn't play a better ball there. It was a great opportunity, good numbers arriving in the box. Just miscued it a bit.
What his mindset is going into the new A-League campaign. Thought he was going to be with Perth Glory. I think they did too. And that was scuppered by COVID. He's got to start again with Melbourne City.
Such is the life of a footballer. A bit unpredictable. But at least he knows where he's at.
Normally transfers break down due to personal terms or injuries or failed medicals. Not global pandemics. Here's Andonis Martis. Two waiting on the right, one of whom is Franjic. Quickly shut down by Jean-Rowe. Martis, Franjic again. Well defended by Jean-Rowe. Bacchus has to hurry, and he couldn't hurry enough. And the first shot on target with any real venom comes from Michael Roos for Macarthur, beaten down by Tom Glover. But that mistake in possession from Keanu Bacchus was almost costly for the Olyroos. And after offering no real threat in the opening 20 minutes, Trevor, it's Macarthur who have the first shot in anger. That's going to be a free kick for them as well. Foul on Sushnia.
Yeah, the Olyroos will definitely want to build on having had a better start today on the scoreboard, without avoiding silly mistakes or being a bit casual.
Which is what cost them against Sydney, of course.
Yeah, I think Keanu will rectify that very quickly the next touch he has.
Here's Franjic, dangerous ball in, but touch too close to Glover. Talking of those pathways, as we were, mentioned for one of Tom Glover's mentors, Ron Tilsard. I'm sure you know Ron, former Portsmouth goalkeeper back in the day. I know he was a big influence on Tom as a youngster.
Yeah, we certainly we had a real wealth of top goalkeepers and goalkeeper coaches here over the last 30, 40, 50 years, and it's there's a number of very mature goalkeeper coaches that are still helping a lot of young players. So it's important.
Very mature, I like that. Yeah. You're talking to the likes of Ron Corrie and Jimmy Fraser?
Why not? Two champions, and still helping kids out now into their 70s and still helping people, and I think that's fantastic.
Sure is. A lifetime's involvement with a beautiful game.
Definitely.
Here's Keanu Bacchus.
There you go. Next action from Keanu, a little bit quicker.
Much better. Almost left the Wanderers, of course. Bacchus, midway through the last A-League campaign, had interest from Denmark in the shape of Aarhus, which Laurie McKinnon always jokes with me as Scottish for where he lives. Now, Lockie Wales has sprung the offside trap this time, but Nick Suman out to meet him.
So if you talk about the performance gap report, you look at someone like Nick Schumann. There's a young talent who played under 17s for Australia a few years ago, you know, he's one of the ones that really would benefit from what we're trying to achieve with competitions, because he's one of the guys who real talent, training with the first team, but then, you know, after a couple of years he's only had another dozen or 15 senior football appearances, and it's great that Ante has given him the chance today to play this match.
Socceroos goalkeeper Adam Federici given a rest. Toole quite on the same wavelength as Wales. There is Michael Roos, formerly with Sydney United, as mentioned. Actually scored in Macarthur's very first official game. 6-0 win against the Camden Tigers a couple of weeks back now. O'Toole, that's better. Wales's pace will get him there well ahead of Jovanovic. And they turn this into something meaningful. Top of the box is O'Neill. Beyond him is Metcalf, and further still is Atkinson. Little jockey for position. Metcalf trying to float it in, and O'Toole is there, but just couldn't keep it alive. A promising moment comes to nothing for the Australian under-23s, Trevor.
Yeah, another positive moment though. Like, it's, you know, getting a fullback in the box in a position either to score or play the last ball, and a lovely little lofted pass over the top. And it is difficult out there. It's very breezy today. The ball popping around a little bit, but that's important that they kept the ball moving and looked for an opportunity to play a positive pass into the box.
Franic has picked up a knock. Looks to be in quite a bit of discomfort, which will be a concern to Ante Milicic. Seemingly minimal contact, but well, maybe the way he twisted his leg in the ground there, even Franic. Maybe just tweaked a ligament. Medical staff getting to work, but didn't look too good the way that knee twisted, Trevor, on the replay.
Yeah, never like to see anyone, you know, getting those awkward little moments, but I'm sure Ivan will be okay.
Yeah, it's just that moment there, isn't it, where his foot just sort of digs in the turf a bit. Thumbs up from the medical staff. Maybe Ivan Franic is going to be okay. We certainly hope so. He has had his problems with injuries down the years. I'm sure he won't mind me saying he's not as young as he used to be. He's 33 now. Always a very fit guy, of course.
The nice cool weather will help him today.
Yeah.
And get some extra match minutes.
Minutes played, and it's been largely the Olyroos doing most of the attacking. And strangely enough, Tom Glover, the only real meaningful save. We've not seen a whole heap of the likes of Matt Derbyshire, Moody Najjar, Liam Rose. Mordekutis. of room here and time for Nathaniel Atkinson. Gets the return, nobody's gone with him. Scott across now, O'Neill stretching, and Denny Jeanreau trying to hit it. Good challenge on the edge of the box by Martis, and away strides Michael Roos. That was the wrong option. Moody Najjar was the ball, wasn't he? On the left-hand side. You can hear the yelps of frustration from the former Melbourne City striker as the Olyroos try and turn defence into attack, but Suman is out to play sweeper-keeper. And here's Franich, seemingly recovered from that little scare some moments ago. Square by Jovanovic, 6 feet 5 inches tall, central defender. He's played at some really good clubs down the years, Jovanovic. Jeju United, Tanjin Teda, Suwon, Police Tero in Thailand, and yet he's never played for Australia at any level.
Maybe the time's coming in the future.
He's 31, he better come quick. Steered back by Rolls. Aidan O'Neill offering himself up for Tom Glover. Atkinson. Conor O'Toole was already away on his bike down the left-hand side. Lachlan Wales drifting inside. Here's Atkinson building nicely again. It's Metcalf. Atkinson. Still pushing and probing. Jeanreau for O'Toole and back again, and they'll reset through Kai Rolls. Patient play by Graham Arnold's team. Crossfield they go now through Morda Kutas, off the head of O'Toole, brought down by Wales. Jeanreau. Backus to drive forward perhaps. Wales has O'Toole outside him. And in the end it's off Martis for another corner. Again, stringing the passes together nicely, Trevor.
Yeah, it was good patience there. It was also that Macarthur held their shape very well and defend well in their back third in terms of their structure and their positioning. So it was good for the Olyroos to be patient. They've given themselves an opportunity here with an attacking set piece.
Jeanreau works it all the way back for O'Toole. Cross deflected by Liam Rose. They've spun the ball up in the air, and Jeanreau, that's a dangerous ball. Just missing the final touch from Connor Metcalf. Unable to lunge quite far enough. Just curling away from him.
Yeah, delivered into a good area, good decision.
Approaching the half-hour mark at Jubilee Stadium, still goalless. I think Graham Arnold would be much, much happier with this start from his team than the one he got on Thursday. Backus floats it with perfect weight into the path of Thurgate. Here's Metcalf, just dallied too long. Graham Arnold puts his head in his hands in the technical zone. Have to be a touch quicker than that, Connor.
Yeah, need to be a bit more decisive there. He kind of was.
Here's Michael Roos at the other end,
paying more attention to the pressure coming from behind than the opportunity in front. But still good progressive play. Great range of things going on. Short passing game, also opportunities to play in behind. So the Olyroos are looking at different ways of attacking there, which is great.
Macarthur on the attack, and I'm pretty sure I heard a cowbell or two in the background. Maybe one or two fans have sneaked in with what is sure to become a ubiquitous sight and, more importantly, sound when the A-League resumes at the end of December. You're going to hear a lot of those cowbells, a bit like the vuvuzelas in South Africa 10 years ago. hear the breeze on our effects microphones. Pretty strong blowing across the field. Clipped forward by Roos. Calmly done by Bacchus and by O'Neill. And it's a throw off Ivan Franjic.
Bulls very compact here. Look how far Moody Najjar, the left wingers, come across to help with the press.
Looked as though Milligan was leaning over the top of Metcalf, but play on, says Ben Abraham. Chance for the Ollie Roos to break. O'Neill, and Wales again has just gone a fraction too early.
Probably a good time to change sides there and use Nathaniel Atkinson.
Macarthur looking to build. Of course, still building their squad. Interesting and exciting news last 48 hours that they've signed the Spanish international Beñat Echeverria, who looks, in terms of his pedigree at least, a real quality signing. 4 times cap for his country, formerly with Athletic Bilbao, Champions League experience, etc., etc.
I think that's that's obviously one of the objectives that Ante's mentioned a couple of times in the press, is the intent from the Bulls to enter the competition with a bang, to be positive and really try and make a mark on the competition straight away. And signings like that indicate they're able to make those decisions and make those acquisitions.
And the Frenchman Loic Pouillot not involved tonight, or today I should say, either. Interesting to see what he can bring. It's always the great time of year, isn't it, ahead of the new A-League season, where some of the foreign talents arrive and you think, oh, never heard of him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Is he going to be a Berisha or is he going to be a Jardel? That's always the question, isn't it?
Definitely. I don't think Ante will play anyone until he feels they're fully physically ready to play.
Yeah.
But he also is, if he was playing cards, you don't see them all. So, he'll progressively give people introductions into the squad, and then I think week 1 we'll see what he's really thinking.
We certainly haven't seen too much of one of those stars, Matt Derbyshire, as yet. Here's Angus Thurgate. Macarthur has spent most of their time in this half of the pitch. Moody Najjar, look at how deep he is. He's normally one of their attacking weapons, and his strength and pace has taken him clear of Angus Thurgate. Not too much support.
So interestingly, although Andoni Martis has been overseas for a few years, he and Moody are the same age, the same with Rami Najjarine. They all went to the same school. So when they were 12 or 13, they were kicking around together, and here's Andoni and Moody playing together.
Is that in Fairfield?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah. And as a coincidence, the training venue was around the corner from where they went to school. So
always helps.
Yeah, I think it's just nice to see some local kids playing in the jersey.
Scoot forward for O'Neill, who was blatantly checked by Mark Milligan. I think they used to call that a professional foul, didn't they?
I think using a bit of experience there to slow the game down.
.35 years of age now, Mark Milligan. Still plenty to offer for Macarthur. Here's O'Toole. Has Metcalf beyond him. It's Connor Metcalf. And it's a really good challenge from Alexander Sushnia to deny the Melbourne City midfielder. And for all their pushing and probing, it's probably the closest they've had to a real chance.
Yeah, and again, good defending, but a couple of great passes. That's now 3 or 4 great passes into the box that the Ollie Roos have played, and they need to persist with that to make themselves a goal. So it's a very positive play, but also well defended.
Here's Ivan Franjic. Milligan. Difficult to miss. A former Socceroos skipper in the bright yellow boots. Liam Rose looking for the give and go with his former Sydney United teammate Michael Roos. Didn't quite work out. Wales forced to stop and check. No real options available.
It just felt like it opened up for Keanu a little bit there, and he probably could have attacked space a bit more before he played the ball. But they've retained possession. They've got control of the play again, so it's not a bad result. I think he did have an opportunity if he'd gone forward with the ball a bit further.
Well, the Olyroos have certainly played most of this first half so far, at least, Trevor, on their terms. They've controlled the pattern of the game.
Yeah, a much improved sort of feeling going into half-time, I think. And obviously both coaches, although it's a friendly match, will always want their team to raise a level in the second half and try and get a win.
I'm sure we'll see some changes in the second half as well. Perhaps some of those that we haven't yet seen in this mini-series for the Olyroos, the likes of Ryan Strain. Here's Wales, wouldn't quite run on for him, which allowed Jovanovic to make the challenge. Josh Laws, another one we haven't seen as yet in this series. Johnny Katrumbis sat on the bench from the Newcastle Jets. Here's Atkinson, and squared up, and Metcalf used his body well, perhaps unfairly so in the opinion of referee Ben Abraham, who blew his whistle for a free kick for Macarthur.
Yeah, and interesting to see obviously Angus Thurgate playing in a slightly different role than he was the other night, and he's been one who's made a lot of positive runs, got himself into good situations, you know, to be the one receiving a penetrating pass, and again he's involved in the action there.
That was a glorious ball, by the way, by Franjic, but miscontrolled by Najar. Wales combine well, by and large, with Connor O'Toole. Disappointing release, though, in the end. Connor O'Toole, another one who burst onto the scene with Brisbane Roar, and you thought he was going to be their left back for as long as he wanted to be, but has had to leave. Go to pastures new to get A-League football with Newcastle, or at least he'll hope to get that football this coming season. He's got extra reason to want to be in Tokyo. That's, of course, Japanese heritage. Attended the same school, I think, as Jason Davidson.
Is that right?
Yeah. As a teen.
Interesting they have the same position as well.
Yeah. And that would be a hard school, Japanese sporting school as well. Be very regimented, you imagine, quite disciplined.
Yeah, but they have excellent systems.
Indeed.
And, you know, whether it's even university football over there is of a good level, and J-League teams are always buying players from there. So it's in Japan, the school system's very well used and well respected in the development pathway.
Milligan floats it towards Najar. Took it down quite neatly. Only partly cleared by Rolls. Najar again, back through Scott. Now Sushnia. Martis back for Jovanovic. Rose, Scott. But a keep ball on that left-hand side for Macarthur. They get the throw off Thurgate.
It just feels tactically like both teams have their structure and they're playing to that. It feels for me to break the game, it just needs to go up in tempo. The ball needs to move a bit quicker for a period of time, because otherwise it's a reasonably well-matched tactical battle of what they're trying to do, how they're trying to create overloads and the positioning of players. So for me, I think that will be one of the things said at halftime will be, you know, we're doing all right, but we need to do this a little bit quicker.
Maybe that was the intention from Aidan O'Neill, but you need accuracy as well. And Macarthur sweep forward down the right with Michael Roos looking to attack Kai Rolls. Little drop of the shoulder, gets around the defender. To settle for a throw in the end, Ante Milicic's team. Just a hopeful sort of scoop forward in the end by Sushnja. Adjusted down by Milligan. Jean-Ro nipping in ahead of Franjic. Conor O'Toole thought about the back pass, didn't he? But I think people at Sydney Airport could have heard the cry of no from Tom Glover. Don't you dare. Launch forward by Suman. Just a couple of minutes to go before the break here at Jubilee Stadium as the sun breaks through once again. Atkinson making progress, turning back towards Keanu Bacchus. Atkinson again. Milligan blocking the passing lane. Not the best release from Derbyshire, who's been a rather isolated figure in this first 45. Given his pedigree, 150 career goals and some of the top leagues in the Northern Hemisphere. You imagine once he gets his fitness at 100% and the cohesion is there for Macarthur, he will score goals in the A-League.
I was almost going to say the same thing. Although he hasn't had the ball a lot, a player of that level only needs a couple of chances to get on the score sheet.
Here's Atkinson as the Olyroos look to get on the score sheets. Nodded away by Jovanovic. Atkinson again been heavily involved down that right-hand side first half. Punches it out towards Conor O'Toole on the left. Wales. Not the best delivery, but it's spooned up in the air by Jovanovic. Sushnja helping him out. Not the most aesthetically pleasing clearing of the lines, but it worked, did the job.
Yeah, a little bit of communication there. I think Sushnja was expecting Nicky Schumann to come and get that ball.
Atkinson again. Back through Bacchus. Rolls, Jean-Ro. Gets rid of Michael Roos. Wales. Again, Graham Arnold's team building quite nicely here. Can they find a bit of end product? Wales. Gap wasn't there to squeeze it through for Metcalf. Oh, and that didn't go where Macarthur wanted it to, off the boot of Martis. And then Metcalf treads on the ball. A comedy of errors, that little passage of play. Strong challenge by O'Neill. Maybe a hint that it was two-footed. Turned back by Wales. Jean-Ro looking for Atkinson at that back post, and he does climb and reach it. And there is no further time, and that is the interval here at Jubilee Stadium. First half dominated largely in terms of possession by the Australian under-23 outfit. They have, though, found chances hard to create. Connor Metcalf probably had their best one. At the other end, Michael Roos stinging the palms of Tom Glover between the sticks for the Olympic outfits. And at the break, despite all the huff and puff, it is goalless. It is Australia under-23 0, Macarthur FC 0. All right, as we head into half-time, we're going to bring you another couple of our programmes in the episodes of Generations of Australians, compiled to celebrate the rich migrant and multicultural fabric of our Australian national teams. Today, Socceroos winger Awa Mabil and Matilda's player Chloe Lagazo recognise the key people in their lives who paved the way for their careers by moving to this part of the world.
You always take pride in everything that I do, whether it be on the field or off.
Oh, beautiful.
So proud to be your granddaughter, so proud to represent my country.
Am I the first one to have one in the family? Woohoo!
I just want to say thank you for believing and giving me the opportunity to chase my dreams.
I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and I love you so much, and I miss you.
Love you. I love you too, dear.
I didn't know what time it was. I rang her, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning over there. My granddaughter, she's the best. She's very nice little girl.
Yeah. Ôi giảm ta bà ta nó phun giảm ấy cho bố có giảm bố cái đó.
Hello, Mama. I hope you're doing well. Miss you a lot. I look forward to seeing you soon. I just want to say thank you for believing and giving me the opportunity to chase my dreams and always supporting me. You've always been there for me since I could remember. I remember the drives you used to do to take me to training and also games. I know you sacrificed a lot for me. Therefore, I'm very grateful. I can never thank you enough. So I hope this small little jersey is a little thank you to you for helping me. I love you very much, and you take care. Bye.
Dance with the part of you.
Our Mobile trying to bend it. Oh, what a goal! That is a magnificent goal by our Mobile.
Alan Kogarah. And it's very heavy. And with pure red. Oh, chata, I'm going to do it. Kunyali can yin. Ben Joe, Ben Kakuma. Or Rovagis, UN, and a Ben Mo. Pire in fear. A fear, a loy, cookie, UN yen. Oh, and Ben Jan Ben upon a one madam, my cousin. In a Ben upon Louis Werek, Louis foam, Queen of foam. Foaming a chan Ben on Miska. Mobile and aware and vor. Be good in Boko, Yogofi, Fire.
Mobile wants it deep. That's the target. Aim on Mobile, make it 2 for Australia. The young man has his 3rd goal already for his country.
As soon as I pull that on, it's I know I'm representing 24 million people, and I go out there and just give it my best to defend these colors and get the result that we need for these colors and great country. So it's a privilege every time. I think for the community back home in Australia to see one of their own coming through, and also being one of the faces of the Socceroos kid. I think it's going to inspire the next generation.
Football means a lot to me and to obviously the kids in the refugee camp. You have to find something like a reason to be happy. Football was something that, when I play with my friends, it's like it brings out another energy. It takes away the stress, and it's just something that's, since I started playing it, I've been addicted to it because of that feeling, gives me that dopamine of feeling good.
And I'm proud again. And proud of me, because I'm proud again. Made good again. You will look at Loy, why you loy? He Korean. Keen if you, I've been pure.
She come my birthday. She bought me a new phone.
Now you can FaceTime me.
It's very similar.
Overseas, okay?
And now
So I ring her, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning over there. And then she ring me, she say, Nonna, you know what time it was? 3 o'clock. You ring me this time. It was 7 o'clock in the night. Okay, I say, okay. I ring you 7 o'clock. Hello. welcome to my home. I'm Gina Zarella. Chloe, she's my granddaughter. That's Chloe when she got to school. Look at her. Lasagna in the oven, cannelloni. She like cannelloni with the spinach and ricotta. Chloe, she's a beautiful girl. She stayed with me 3 months when she played for Newcastle. She like cook, but she never have time to do God. That's radish. She used to like this kind of thing. I miss her now. She's far away. But one day when this virus is gone, maybe we're going to see her.
Hey, Nonna. I love you and I miss you.
Oh, darling.
You took a giant leap to migrate to Australia in 1964.
You make me cry now.
I hope I make you proud every time I pull on the Australian jersey. Not just to represent the country that you chose to live in, but to do our family name proud. I've never known anyone with the same work ethic as you. You wake up at 6 a.m. every single morning to attend to a garden that is way bigger than your own house and insist on maintaining a career as a cleaner, something that is still so demanding on your body. And you never complain, and you're always so strong, lovely, and have such a welcoming presence. So thank you so much, Nonna, for everything that you've done. You make me so proud. And thank you for giving us a better life.
Oh, look. Hey, shit. Oh, that was nice. Look at her. Look, look, look. The family name is still here. Proud of it. Yeah, of course. In Italy, we have a farm. Malfi Coast, not far of there. I was 19 when I came, but I was with my boyfriend from there in school, and we married after 1 week. I bring everything from Italy, the white dress and everything. Couldn't speak English, and I left my mom and dad there. One of my friends, a friend of ours, Italia, she took me to Kogarah Hospital, and I work in the kitchen there, and I started learning English, and they like me there, and I like it there. After the kids born, that's it, Australia was home. I lost my husband when he was so young. I was 39, he was 40. 4 kids. What do you do? Life going on, what do I say? Then the grandchildren. And a lot to me, because, you know, we're proud. It's my granddaughter.
Chloe Logarzo off the mark. First goal for her country.
She worked hard for the football. From young girl. I remember her granddad, not my husband, the other one, took her everywhere for the soccer. She like from young girl. My son said, oh, you gotta find a work. I said, leave her alone. She'll be good on the soccer and that's it, if she like it. And she come up here and I support her in every way. Chloe, whatever you wanna do. Yeah, hard because it's far away. I wanna go and see her, but I can't. Yeah, what I can say, I'm very proud of her. Chloe, darling, I love you always. I didn't expect this. After you come and do the garden.
You've dreamed of places to go. You promised one day. Now, one day is here. New adventures. Wide open spaces. So, you can't travel the world right now. So what? New South Wales is here for you. Let's all reboot 2020. One unforgettable experience at a time. Now's the time to love New South Wales.
Yeah, we're back live here at Jubilee Stadium in Sydney, where the temperature continues to drop. Trevor Morgan, it's a bit chilly up here with the breeze, and it certainly affected the players as well. Your overall thoughts of that first 45? You're just tuning in, incidentally. It's goalless at the moment between Australia under-23s and the A-League new boys Macarthur FC.
Yeah, probably similar to what I said just before half-time, Simon. I think that you know, good structure to both teams. You can see good assets to how they're going to play as the season goes on with the Bulls, and I think just feeling each other out a bit. as you said, not a great deal of top chances to score, but good football. And I think just increased ball speed from either team at the right time is going to create a chance.
Is it a concern for you, Trevor? We were just talking about this during the half-time break. For all the neat approach play of the Olyroos, and they had a lot of possession, there wasn't a lot of end product. And we're looking at this squad at the moment. We know there are players still to come back, like Sir Riley McGree, Nick D'Agostino, Harry Sutar, and one or two others as well. But where are the goals coming from?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's always good to have special individuals who are great goal scorers. So people's form in the next 6 months is going to be important about who's actually pushing forward and scoring a lot of goals. Graham will obviously work with his staff on the attacking patterns to get the most out of the players that they have available at the time. But I think it's very much up to the players, front third players, to be taking responsibility and playing well and getting themselves on the score sheet regularly.
It is the toughest part of the game, and as we've talked about a lot over the last few years in the A-League, it's the area of the pitch that clubs tend to go for overseas players, marquee stars, the likes of Berisha, etc. And we understand that, but it doesn't always help the development of young Australian strikers, does it?
True, and it's sort of a fine balance there, isn't it? You want to bring top players to the league, and exciting ones are often strikers. And I guess it's up to the young ones in the competitions that they can play, in the NPLs or other matches that they can play, national youth team matches, to establish themselves as good finishers.
Indeed. The Olyroos record in 2020 in terms of full internationals: played 7, won 3, drawn 3, lost just the once. That was against South Korea in those Olympic qualifiers earlier on in the year, and all of the games that they won or lost were by the odd goal. That's why it's so important to find those strikers, isn't it? News of changes. You just saw one there. Cameron Devlin is on for the second half. So too Tate Russell, the Western Sydney Wanderers right back, and we're also going to see Josh Laws second 45. So 3 changes made by Graham Arnold. Nathaniel Atkinson, Kai Rolls, and Denny Jonro, the trio to go off. Trevor, Denny Jonro probably the pick of the bunch in the first 45, neat and tidy as he normally is for the Olyroos.
Yeah, he's out there impressing 2 coaches at the same time. But
yeah.
I thought he had a very good first half, used the ball well, was busy, good decision making. So good 45 minutes for him.
And what of Macarthur? Of course, their supporters, they had their fan day at the weekend. They've sold over 3,000 memberships ahead of their first year in the A-League. Still in construction, you sense. And Matt Derbyshire, their big star on show today, not really seen a lot of him so far.
Yeah, I'll reserve my judgment until I watch them a few times, but what I do know is they'll be very, very well prepared. They've got a lot of experienced people in their staff. The club's made a statement in some of the signings they've made that they've brought both youth and experience to their squad. So, and Ante's been involved in 2 start-up clubs before, so I expect in another 6 weeks or so they're going to be very, very competitive with the top teams.
Gives us an extra few Sydney derbies, of course, this year to look forward to in the A-League. And we're going to hear those ubiquitous cowbells, I'm sure, on a fortnightly basis as well. They're a little bit late onto the field, coming out for the second half of Macarthur FC. Hope they haven't forgotten that there is another 45 to go. As mentioned, they did play 2 games of 45 minutes each at the weekend. Selected 2 completely different sides for the matches against Bankstown United, which they won 2-0, and the Macarthur Rams in the second 45. And there are 1 or 2 smiles from the Olyroos players as well, as they sort of look towards the dressing rooms and say, well, are you coming or are you not? Here they come, led by Mark Milligan. Player who's been to 4 World Cups. Not many Australians have done that. Extraordinary achievements throughout his long and varied career. Just having a quick look around the Macarthur 11. Looks to be unchanged from the one that finished the first 45. They do have a number of trialists on the bench. Maybe we'll get to see 1 or 2 of them in the second half. And particularly looking forward, if we see him, Trevor, to a young Sudanese-born guy called Tep Tep, who's been playing for Sydney Olympic in the NPL New South Wales. Apparently very tall, very elegant on the ball. Very composed too, so not yet a full-time contracted player for Macarthur, but maybe we'll get to see him second 45. But on we go, goalless. And I think what we'd really like to see in terms of the neutrals here today, Trevor, is just a few more goal-mouth opportunities.
Always puts a smile on people's face, sees some goals scored, and often changes the game. And maybe there's a goal soon, and it really raises the tempo of the match again.
You see how the ball held up in the breeze there from the throw from Tate Russell. He's been out-muscled by Liam Rose. And now Moody Najjar as Macarthur look to start the second half on the front foot. Laid off by Derbyshire and then by Milligan. Turned back by Walter Scott. And by Sushnyar, hanging ball. Glover thought about coming for it and then thought better of it. The Olyroos clear their lines, and it's helped forwards by Connor Metcalf, but Lockie Wells not going to get there ahead of Alexander Jovanovic. Macarthur just looking as though they're attempting to start their second half with a little bit more attacking intent, Trevor.
Yeah, it's almost mirrored the first half, where the play straight away has ended up in that end of the pitch. And a little bit of sharpness in their pressing in that first minute there.
Referee Ben Abraham unhappy with the pressure of the ball, so we've got a replacement. The ball slung into the box, but easy gather for Tom Glover. Just have that one real save to make first half to deny Michael Roos. Russell clearly clipped by Liam Rose. Offers the hand of apology, Liam Rose. Ben Abraham reminding everybody that it is a friendly. Just mistimed, I think, rather than malicious, unless you saw it differently.
Nothing much to worry about there.
It's a nice little flick by Wales. Metcalf steaming up on the left is O'Toole. And Thurgate waiting in the box, but yeah, you're right. Delayed a touch too long. Sushnyar gets it behind.
Tate Russell unmarked at back post, an early ball. Be a great opportunity.
Still might work out okay for the Olyroos. They have a corner. Angus Thurgate being closely watched by Walter Scott. Again, they go along the floor and back for O'Toole. And Milligan's collapsed in a heap inside the penalty area. I have to confess, I didn't see what happened there. And the whistle had gone from Ben Abraham. Fairly hefty whack by the looks.
Maybe running the Josh Laws here by the looks of it.
Ran into the strong arm of the Laws.
I was just thinking that last attack from the Olyroos, shows another feature of how Graham's teams always play. There's always fullbacks making runs into the box, a young player like Tate Russell trying to maybe emulate what a Ryan Grant does regularly, getting in the box and being on the end of things. So there's a positive moment there for the Olyroos straight away.
Macarthur attempting unsuccessfully on this occasion to play out from the back. Milligan perhaps still a touch groggy from that prior confrontation with Laws. Steered back by O'Toole. Josh Laws. Also, of course, will play in the A-League with Wellington Phoenix this coming campaign. Knows Ufuk Talay well from junior setups with Australia.
He's replacing a pretty experienced player there.
Stephen Taylor.
So a totally new look for the Phoenix at the back there, with the young one coming in.
He'll have Luke De Vere, an experienced head alongside him. He's re-signed for another campaign across the ditch. Macarthur trying to get themselves out a bit of a hole there. Sushniar putting his boot through it. Alexander Sushniar, only 25, but already you read his CV in terms of clubs. He's very experienced, isn't he? Played in Korea with Busan, Slovakia with Zelina, Mlada Boleslav and Teplice in the Czech Republic, Gazmetan in Romania, played in Lithuania. Passport's going to be pretty full of those stamps, you'd imagine.
Yeah, there's a positive and a negative that goes with that. There's a lot of movement of clubs, but certainly good experience that he brings. And Ante was a big fan from a couple of years ago, so I'm sure he's looked forward to working with Alex.
Scott just forced to check by the presence of O'Neill. Milligan inviting Franic to gallop forward, as he loves to do, of course. Back through Martis. Roos. Martis really going to have to go to keep that one in play. But again, evidence of much more positive approach from Macarthur. Trying to work the ball through the lines. And Michael Roos, I agree with your comment in the first half, Trevor, looks a real talent.
Yeah, look, he's got exceptional pace, and he's a guy that always wants to make forward runs, wants to get in behind. He's very positive in what he does. So he's one who could benefit from a smart ball from a midfielder and attacking space. He's particularly dangerous in transition.
There's Cammy Devlin, back in the city where he began his A-League life with Sydney FC. Thoughtful Graham Arnold.
Yeah, Cammy's gone into that defensive midfield position there, which has allowed Keanu Backus a little bit more freedom, so he'll be expected to get involved in the attack a lot more. Cammy's a good organiser, good ball winner, doesn't turn the ball over much, so that's what he'll be looking to bring to the side in this second half.
Says Walter Scott. Second time in a matter of a few moments that Walter Scott has lost his footing on the surface. I don't think that was the area of the pitch where we had the errant sprinkler in the first half. Throw by Tate Russell is a clever one. In behind for Thurgate. Suman attempting to plunge on the ball. Had it taken away from him by Jovanovic, who couldn't really afford to take a risk.
Just needed the right solution there from Angus, you know, maybe a good chance to punish with a really smart little throw-in.
Very clever from Tate Russell. Maybe looking to establish himself more regularly in the Wanderers starting 11 this coming season under Carl Robinson.
Yeah.
There he is again, and one of the very few Indigenous players in the A-League at the moment. It's male players, of course. They've got a few Matildas. Offside flag is up against Lockie Wales.
He's a tremendous athlete, Tate, you know, playing in a fullback role there, could play as a wing back. I think you could also use him as a centre back if you need to, because he's got an amazing jump on him. He's quick, and obviously he's improving year by year as a you know, a professional footballer.
A little bit loose by Sushniar. Devlin was onto it in a flash. Here's Lachlan Wales and Cameron Devlin, and forcing a save out of Nick Suman. Franic has remained down on the deck with another problem. May well be that Macarthur are going to have to replace their veteran fullback. He gave chase.
Good sign there from Cameron Devlin. I said to you, he's a good ball winner, so he read the play, and even when the second phase was going to happen, the ball actually went out of play. Cam was already going where the ball was going, so he's one of those players that really reads the game well, takes instruction well, and helps other people play well. be good to see how he plays his second half.
In fact, it's not Ivan Franic who's down injured, it's Aleksandar Jovanovic. Just in the act of stretching there to try and reach Cameron Devlin. Maybe felt something go twang. So the second time that medical staff has been called upon for Macarthur FC. Jovanovic is up and about and okay. 31-year-old who started off his career way back with Parramatta FC. Was actually born in Melbourne. There's a familiar face in the stands. Adam Federici, not involved today, the Socceroos goalkeeper, with his new club Macarthur. Still be a way to goal to really liven this contest up. Tate Russell turned back towards O'Neill. Now they find the angle to try and release Angus Thurgate. Milligan quickly across to provide cover. Bacchus slips it through the gap, and Thurgate again, it's the right idea, just missing the inch perfect execution, Trevor.
They're all the little things. They just need more and more games together, the Olyroos, to be able to go into a big tournament like Olympic Games. You need a series of matches where those little interactions like that become really finely tuned.
Scott losing out to O'Neill. Thurgate making progress, but just dallied too long on the release, allowed Scott to recover. Franic has a look, finds Milligan. Liam Rose. Scott. Punch back towards Sushnia. Martis. It's cleverly done. Rose down the line. Derbyshire. Can't remember saying his name too many more times during the game, to be honest. Matt Derbyshire. Really had to feed on scraps so far in that striking role for Macarthur. Tasmore to Kutis. Confident enough in the ability of his goalkeeper to turn it back towards Glover. Now launch it forward, but only finding Sushnia. Helped further forward by Milligan for Macarthur. A real shoulder to shoulder between O'Neill and Najjar. One of whom has left Melbourne City during the off-season, and the other one has joined. They didn't miss each other, did they?
No. It's good to see.
O'Toole. Franic holds the ball up, but can't prevent it from finding its way through to Lachlan Wales. Bacchus, back post is Tate Russell, that was the idea. Clearing header from Walter Scott. They'll reset the Olyroos through Cameron Devlin here. Bacchus, touch back by Metcalf. And then Josh Laws will spray it out towards Russell on the right. Cheeky little topo, but effective from Tate Russell to release Aidan O'Neill, who hangs it up in the air too high for Lachlan Wales. That's why you need a 6'3" striker in that position.
It's good two or three phases of play here where the Olyroos have won it back quickly. So they persist with this, they might make a good chance for themselves. They had the Bulls quite deep there for a while.
Macarthur are going to make a double change shortly. Going to see the introduction of Lachlan Rose and Charles Mombwa. Just going through some last-minute instructions with Ante Milicic's number 2, Ivan Jolic. Bacchus. Clever touch by O'Neill. Out wide by Thurgate. He was in position for the return as well. Josh Laws, Glasgow born, but Sydney raised, so sort of back on home turf for him today. Maybe done by Bacchus. Finds the gap for Wales to turn, and they try and thread the eye of the needle again for the run of Thurgate, who really busted a gut to try and get there, but he was well tracked by Sushnia. And the stalemate endures, Trevor Morgan.
Yeah, there's another chance there. You know, there was 2 good runs made by Tate Russell in this wide area. Once when Tass had the ball, and the second time when Lockie had the ball, and just the choice has gone the other way. But there was actually space and an overload on this side of the pitch.
Now here's a chance from a long way out of a fashion for Matt Derbyshire, but the finish wasn't very fashionable. But given the paucity of touches he's had this afternoon, I guess you can forgive him for thinking, well, blow this, I'm going to have a go.
Yeah.
Back pass left a little short. Tom Glover was smart enough to take it away from Derbyshire. And the Olyroos will try and build through Metcalf, out-muscled by Jovanovic. Not often you say that about Connor Metcalf. He's a pretty physical specimen, but so too is Alexander Jovanovic. Here are those changes we talked about. We're going to see the introduction
5 all at once
of 5 Olyroos, but also 2 for Macarthur. As mentioned, Charles Amombwa, Lachlan Rose, but also Tasmorda Kutas, replaced by Katrumbis. Thurgate replaced by Ryan Strain. And I'll bring you up to date with the others in a moment. There's so many to take note of here. Daniel Bauman is on as well. Rami Nazarene. Keanu Bacchus has come off as well. Whole host of changes. I said Keanu Bacchus has come off. He's still on the pitch at the moment, but just about to make his way to the sidelines. So Lachlan Rose with his first involvement and steered towards goal. It's well held by Tom Glover to deny Moody Najjar. Well, 1 or 2 appeals for handball as well. So we'll see if those changes change the pattern of the game.
So Tate's changed sides to left fullback.
Yep, Tate Russell gone over to the left-hand side. Ryan Strain making his first appearance in Australian colours in his more familiar role on the right. There's John Katrumbis with the pass to Strain. Another one of the changes made by Graham Arnold. He's had to bide his time, Ryan Strain, before getting the national team jersey on, because he hadn't qualified in terms of being resident in the country for long enough up until quite recently, but now he's got the go-ahead. This is O'Neill. Complete miscue initially from Tate Russell. Reset through Metcalf and Devlin. Little give and go, perhaps that was the intention.
Great ball.
by Ryan Strain. The ball from Nazarene. In it goes. There's a chance here for the Olyroos, but they can't bundle it home. Daniel Baumann on the stretch for it, but in the end the whistle goes from Ben Abraham in favour of Macarthur.
Again, I think the Olyroos will be reasonably happy here that they're continually getting fullbacks into high areas. They're starting to get players in pockets with the ball and looking to play passes in. I think it's just the final execution still missing a bit to get that goal.
Here's one of the Macarthur changes. Charles Mombwa, but he's lost out. Fresh to the game. A little bit of a rusty touch perhaps. And the curling shot from Rami Nazarene is easily held by Nick Suman. Touch too high for Michael Rose. Steered back by Walter Scott. This is an awkward one for Nick Suman, and the clearance is not great. It's Rami Nazarene with the opportunities, wouldn't quite sit from quickly enough. Metcalf top of the penalty area. O'Neill, and then clipped towards the far post by Ryan Strain, but that touch off the Macarthur defender took it clear of Rami Nazarene. Still the Olyroos buzzing around the Macarthur penalty area. Trying to find that angle, dug out by Jordan O'Doherty. Devlin. Oh, and Aidan O'Neill had turned away from the ball, just didn't look. And stealing on the blind side was Michael Ruse. Links up with Moody Najjar. Steaming forward is Lachlan Rose. It's Charles Mombwa on the top of the penalty area for Macarthur. Back through Milligan. And here is Lachlan Rose, and Macarthur score. And it is the substitutes. Fresh off the bench, he's only been on the pitch a matter of a minute or two, but it was a very tidy finish from Lachlan Rose, the trialist, and it is Macarthur who lead the Olyroos by 1-0. Nice finish too, Trevor.
Yeah, definitely a good ball played into the box and positive movement. I think probably Tommy would be thinking he could do better with that angle to be able to make the save. So he might be a bit disappointed there. But if you come on as a sub and you score in that amount of time, I think you'd be pretty happy with yourself as well.
A youngster from Blacktown has played for the Spartans and Blacktown City. And looking to secure a deal with the A-League New Boys. That won't do his cause any harm.
Definitely not.
The other trialist off the bench, Charles Mombwa, formerly of the Mariners, involved in the build-up as well. So the Olyroos, after being well on top, you'd probably say for the majority of the game, find themselves behind. So a test of character and of their quality, and as to whether they can find the solution, Trevor, to the problem we talked about at half-time, and that being a lack of goals.
Yeah, definitely. I think the goal might open the game and raise the number of chances that are created, the bit of urgency about making those chances.
You've got a set-piece chance here, which Rami Nazarene is going to deliver. Low towards the near post, but Ryan Strain couldn't do anything with it. That's a useful release from Mombwa, but the pace of Tate Russell will ensure that he nips in ahead of Michael Ruse. Keeps the Olyroos moving in the right direction. O'Doherty. Baumann. Russell, pace of the attack slows. Everybody behind the ball for Macarthur. Nazarene will be on loan, of course, with the Newcastle Jets from Melbourne City this coming A-League season. Swept forward by Laws. Lovely ball by Metcalf. Strain. Katrumbis. Intelligent ball by Strain, but heavy off the chest of Daniel Bowman. And the arm raised by Aidan O'Neill in the aerial challenge with Mark Milligan has left. And Macarthur skipper again in some pain. Second time he's had a whack to the face during this particular hit out. Well, it was more of a slap than an elbow, but still hurts. Changes afoot for Macarthur. You see Anthony Golek, a familiar figure. Other trialists for the club. Get an opportunity, whole raft of changes. 6 in all. So we're going to see Yanni Nicolau. Gianluca Panuccio. Tep, the aforementioned Tep that we talked about, Trevor, who plays in the NPL for Sydney Olympic. Eddie Caspers is coming on as well. And Yanni Pakatis, who spent the latter part of the last A-League season on loan with Perth Glory, but barely featured. So, lots of changes. Let's see if the trialists can emulate Lachlan Rose and make their mark. We've got just under 20 minutes to do that. Eddie Casper's eager to get amongst it. Solid challenge from O'Neill. Clever back heel by Strain, and then a foul by Ruse. Just a word or two on one or two of the Macarthur trialists. Giovanni Panuccio wearing 18, he's a defender from Sydney Olympic. Eddie Caspers wearing 61. He's from the North Shore Mariners, apparently a very good futsal player as well. Yanni Pakatis, of course, you probably know a fair bit more about because of his A-League days for not only Perth but also the Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yeah, it also taught him for many years at the school at Westfields. Same with Yanni Nicolau, who's also on the pitch.
And Yanni Nicolau that you mentioned, he actually had a year with Salford City in England, the lower tiers of the pyramid over there. Here's another one, former Westfield sports high. Did you teach him as well?
Yeah, there's a few out there. Look,
they're all your charges, Trevor.
It's great to see them getting a chance, but I think Yanni's is an interesting story. From N-Swiss as a kid to the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy, then debuting for Peter Sakenis at Marconi, then overseas, then back another journey. And back in Western Sydney, and trying to compete for a spot in the A-League, which is fantastic.
So it's pathways again, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is that they maintain their love of the game and they keep competing for that opportunity. As soon as you give up yourself, it's over. But it's great to see Australian coaches giving these young guys a go, and it's going to be a very exciting season from that point of view.
Some of them very much in the mix for full-time contracts. That's going to get away from Tate Russell on the left. Here is Tep, Sudanese born. Looks very, very tall and very rangy. But I'm told from his performance in the friendly at the weekend, was very composed on the ball, and his first touch certainly underscored that. Put forward by Pakatis. Here's Caspers. Tep. Caspers again. With the shock of flame red hair. Turned back by Panuccio. Caspers. All left peg, but he's managed to pick out a teammate. Michael Ruse with Josh Laws at his back.
Yeah, Yanni Pakatis is another interesting one. So under 17 international a long time ago with the same team as Milos Degenek, Connor Chapman. and then made his A-League debut in season 1 for the Wanderers away against Newcastle to win the title, and was on debut was taking all the set pieces.
That's a clever touch by Nazarene, and it just needed a little bit more elevation to get over the top of Nick Suman. Just a little glimpse of Rami Nazarene's qualities, which we know he possesses.
Yeah, we didn't get to see it because of the way it's worked out, but it'd be interesting to see him and Angus Thurgate play together this season because of the movement. I think the movement and understanding will be excellent.
That's why he's gone to the Jets, of course, to get that first-team experience. Here's Lachlan Rose, the goal scorer at the moment, potentially in again, looking to turn provider. Johnny Katrumbis saying, I didn't get a touch, and the referee agrees. It's going to be a goal kick for the Olyroos. Yeah, just an air swing, wasn't it, from Johnny? Another Newcastle Jets in this Olympic setup. Oh, Tom Glover a bit loose. Casper's onto it. Najjar glanced off for Katrumbis. Half a shout for handball. Olyroos survived that little moment of madness. And that's with Connor Metcalf. Under quarter of an hour to go at Jubilee Stadium. The wind has dropped a little in the last few minutes, which might make things a touch easier for the players. Certainly making it easy for the commentators, I can tell you that. The notes aren't blowing around as much. If you're Graham Arnold on the strength of this performance, Trevor, I'm going to put you in a difficult, invidious position here. Pick out some individuals, those that you've looked at and thought, yeah, I think he's a little bit firmer in my plans for a seat on the plane to Tokyo.
Look, that's a very difficult one.
That's
trying to get someone else to pick the team for the boss. You know, but I think it will be more about tactically how people respond to things, because there's a chance for people to get a lot of games in a row leading up to the Olympic Games and really be in form. So I think it'd be looking more at which people took up the positions in the patterns of play. Me personally, I was really pleased the other night watching Angus Thurgate. I thought he did a lot of positive things again today, so that's one for me that I quite like. But Arnie can ring me later and tell me to keep my selections to myself.
You can tell him it's only because I asked you. Connor Metcalf just stretching out the hamstring there. They've taken the quarter short, as they have done all game, the Olyroos. Macarthur a bit slow to react. Here's Metcalf, who fires it in. Oh, great finish. And it's 1-1. Connor Metcalf with a thunderbolt from the edge of the box. That's how to finish. Super goal. 1-1.
You're wondering where the finish was going to come from. There it is. And yet, you know, we were obviously looking for it to happen from a bit of open play, but good finish there from Connor, and well done.
We know he can strike a football sweetly, and he's proved it again there. I remember him scoring one in the FFA Cup, and it was just a couple of moments before then that I said we'd seen him just stretching out those hamstrings, maybe suffering with a touch of cramp. Didn't look like it, the way he struck that ball into the back of Nick Suman's net. An absolute peach of a strike.
I'd like to think both teams now want to go for the win, because you know, they've got their match minutes, they've played with their structure, now they want to finish with a bit of a finish on top. So it could be an interesting last 10 minutes where the game opens up a bit and the tempo comes up.
Panuccio able to find the cross he wanted for Macarthur. Metcalf full of beans after scoring that equaliser. Sweeps it out towards Tate Russell and then goes crossfield. Look at that.
Excellent volley.
What a release. And the cross from Ryan Strain is not bad either. Oh, and an easy tap in for Rami Nazarene. There is no flag, and the Olyroos have come from behind to lead 2-1, and it's Rami Nazarene with the finish.
And what's great about that is that, you know, I mentioned before half-time about ball speed and moving the ball quicker, and you've got the ball switched quickly twice in one pattern of play. and that's created a lot of space for an opportunity. Okay, there's a mistake at the back. It's nothing major to worry about, but definitely for the Olyroos, the fact that they moved the ball quickly made those spaces available.
Well, it's Rami Nazareen's name that goes on the score sheet, but Ryan Strain deserves credit for the dangerous ball in. And prior to that, Trevor, what about the release for Strain from Connor Metcalf?
Yeah.
He's not only scored one, but he's made one as well. And they could be in for a third here, but Nazareen just held up by Anthony Golek, who clears his lines upfield only as far as Ryan Strain. Now Nazareen. It's a good challenge by Najan, not shirking his defensive duty.
Yep.
But Connor Metcalf, a terrific contribution. Some ball that.
Yeah, great technique.
And the cross caused a bit of panic from Ryan Strain. A mistake from Yanni Nicolau.
Yeah, it's probably one that should go out for a corner. He's facing his own goal. Just help it out of play.
And Rami Nazareen accepted the gift and said thank you very much. So the game completely turned on its head. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes for the Olyroos.
Yeah, both coaches will call it how they see it, how it suits them, but obviously Ante will probably be fairly happy with the majority of his contracted players getting good game time, giving some trialists an opportunity now. From Arnie's point of view, he would say, I want you to finish the game, I want you to win, and he would expect them to keep pushing for another goal.
Daniel Baumann caught offside, but Macarthur FC caught in possession. We say results don't matter in friendlies, Trevor, and of course that is true, but still nice to win, isn't it?
Definitely. I think, like I say, it's maybe a good end to the camp for the Olyroos. You know, should they finish up winning this game? But again, I think Graham would be looking more about the patterns of play that have been repeated, the types of football he wants to see, the pressing structures, and do players have a good understanding of that? Because he won't see them again for a while, and when they come back into camp, they need to be able to pick up where they left off. Obviously, compete for a spot in between. Make sure they're in form to get the call up. For the Bulls, great opportunity for some of these young players to get a chance to play against an Olympic team and show what they can do. And I'm sure, regardless of the result, Ante will be looking carefully at their clips and looking at what actions they took, what they did if they made a mistake, what happened straight afterwards, to see whether they might be players that can join his squad full time.
Infringement by Charles Amombwa. We're ticking down towards the last 5 minutes at Jubilee Stadium in Kogarah. Ryan Macarthur's snapping at the heels of Aidan O'Neill. I think he got a little piece of the Melbourne City midfielder as well. O'Doherty. And Baumann invited to run forward, but Golek always had front position. Here is the veteran. Former Champions League winner with Western Sydney Wanderers back in 2014. This is Panuccio. Get the throw, Macarthur.
I was just watching that earlier phase of play when the Olyroos are playing out and the recovery run from Woody Najjar. You know, I think that's going to be a feature for the Bulls this season, is a player like that just can work right through a 95 minutes. Exceptional athlete, done a super job in the youth team down in Melbourne City for a couple of years, and you know, coming here to try and establish himself as a first-team player. Certainly won't do himself any harm with the work ethic and what he's tried to do in the game.
Struggle for game time at Melbourne City.
There's a bit of quality up front there.
Yeah, it's tough competition for places, isn't that, really? Particularly when you've got Jamie McLaren, a 20-goal season striker ahead of you. Turned back by Macarthur as we enter the last 5 minutes in Kogarah. Lockie Rose, who scored the game's opening goal in the 67th minute, carries it over the whitewash on that far touchline. Katrumbis punches it out towards Ryan Strain for Graham Arnold's team. Josh Laws arrows it wide right towards Strain. Nazarene turns it back. They miss out Strain this time. Nazarene again. Always curling away from the run of Tate Russell. But he's impressed off the bench, hasn't he, Rami Nazarene? Not just the fact that he's got on the score sheet.
Yeah, it's
involved in some good little combination plays.
Where he's standing now is where he loves to be. He loves to be in that space about the width of the box and on this side of the pitch where he can combine with people and create little passes in behind or cross balls off his left foot there into back post areas. That's the space Rami loves to be in, and you know, he got to play there the other night, and again today, you know, coming on that space really helps him highlight what he's got to offer. That close control in tight spaces, little half turns, reverse balls.
Here is the aforementioned Nazarene. Devlin. Metcalf, who's done as much as anybody to turn this game around for the under-23 side. One super finish and one terrific release to start the move for what is at the moment the match-winning goal from Nazarene.
I think he was involved twice in that piece of play, wasn't he? Switching it twice.
There's Russell. O'Doherty beyond him, and he spotted the run. It's Jordan O'Doherty jockeying for position with Yanni Bakatis, and he managed somehow to find the angle for the shot, and Nick Suman forced into action. The noise you can hear in the background is paramedics attending the scene nearby. That or it's your taxi, Trevor.
I'll just drive home quietly. So.
Yeah. Calm is restored at Jubilee Stadium. Macarthur in the way of that release from Laws. Dug out by Caspers. One back for the Olyroos by Cameron Devlin. A mistake by Tep, and Daniel Bauman could be in here. Tep back goal sides. Everybody slip sliding around and forgetting to take the ball with them. Macarthur to punch it forwards. It's well defended by Strain. Last knockings of an intriguing 90 minutes. As Ben Abraham, the referee, gets an inadvertent touch. Both coaches, you fancy, will be able to take plenty from this display from their charges.
Yeah, definitely a similar comment that I made the other night was that these opportunities, this cooperation between club and country is good for everybody. It's more game minutes for the players, but for the coaches, it's a fixture.
Here's a chance to add to the score sheet for the Olyroos, but Tate Russell couldn't get clean enough contact.
It's just a match they're not normally going to get. Ante's not facing a team that he's going to play in the A-League. Arnie's getting a match that lets him look at his players, so just a huge benefit for everybody.
As it stands, it's the Olyroos who are going to walk away with the win. Was that moment for Tate Russell? Just couldn't quite readjust the time quickly enough. He's the match winner at the moment, Rami Nazarene. Last chance perhaps to add to their tally. Conor Metcalf has run into too much traffic. This might be the last chance for Macarthur. It's threaded through for Eddie Caspers, charged down by Laws. And that will do, says Ben Abraham. So at the end of an entertaining 90 minutes, it is a morale-boosting win for the Ollie Roos over A-League opposition as they round out a calendar year that was, of course, supposed to include the Olympics. And that is now just 8 months away. And who, I wonder, has put themselves in the box seat for a ticket to Tokyo on the back of tonight. Certainly you'd fancy Conor Metcalf has. He scored the equaliser after substitute Lachlan Rose had put Macarthur in front, the trialist, and then played a big part in the second goal. Ultimately converted after a defensive mistake, it must be said, by Macarthur as well, by Rami Najjarine. So that's the way it finishes. Australia under 23s 2, Macarthur FC 1. And here are the goals. Trevor Morgan, Lockie Rose with the opener. Nice tidy finish.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. Like you're saying about Conor Metcalf, I guess the one for him is when you have these qualities, when you can deliver like that, then obviously Graham's going to be looking to see that happen week to week. Right? He's got to do that week to week in the A-League.
Has got such a sweet left peg, hasn't he? And he used that to great effect, and then to turn provider for the run of Ryan Strain on the right. That was a dangerous ball in which caused the panic, a mistake by Nicolau, and Rami Najjarine gobbled up the opportunity. Really couldn't miss from that sort of range, Trevor.
No, definitely not, but again, it's important that the way Graham's playing, Rami was sort of playing as a winger, and he's got himself inside the goal with there to get the tap in. You have to be there to score them. Big
season coming up for Rami Najjarine. Good to see there's still a smile with the opposition coaches. Ante Milicic and Ivan Jolic, they all know each other very well, of course.
Yeah, look, it's great for Rami. Chance to get some more A-League appearances for the Jets. He's got to look forward to that, and he's got to make sure his name is in Graham's mind week by week.
Things starting to firm, both for Ante Milicic for his club side and for Graham Arnold for the national under-23 side. They are back in action next, the junior national team in March of next year, and then of course the big event, the Olympics in Tokyo, which starts next July. That is just about us for today. Simon Hill and Trevor Morgan saying thank you for your company, and we're going to leave you with a little piece that I did with Craig Foster a week or two ago, a recording that referenced, of course, the November the 16th game, 15 years ago yesterday, Australia-Uruguay. We all remember where we were. I certainly know where I was. And here's the story from the commentary box from that particular night. Very good afternoon to you.
I think it was the day before, but Les took me for lunch and tried to basically lecture me about how to do the job, and he said, whatever happens, don't be too partisan.
Well, that worked.
He scored! Australia have done it! Come on, Johnny Wayne!
I sort of remember being very tired because I've been in Montevideo 4 days prior, so I was still jet-lagged and obviously, very nervous about what was to come as well, excited as well. But I imagine you'd be the same. You weren't in Uruguay, but
no.
This was a lot more personal for you than it was for me.
Yeah, the nerves were at an all-time high. In fact, when I think back about that week and particularly that night and hear that game, that's my recollection, Jim. It was just too much. It was actually genuinely too much emotionally. There was so much on the line, and what I remember mostly is just trying to get prepared, and much more difficult than the guys who were getting on the field. People don't realise how hard it is up here, because you kind of, you're so focused as a player, and you become, a professional player means that you can get rid of all this extraneous stuff. Whereas for us, it's all extraneous. The enormity of the night has hit you well before we walked in this door, and any ball's going to be hit. And you've got to kind of somehow navigate through that.
I'd only been in Australia for, I think, 18 months by then, and whilst I wanted Australia to win and I was nervous and, completely recognised the enormity of the occasion, you were very emotionally invested, almost as a fan.
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to separate the two on the night? I don't know why I'm even asking that question, because I know the answer.
Tight the spaces. Here's Harry Kewell.
It's still there.
Hits, and it's in!
Still there!
Australia have scored! Marco Bresciano! 33 minutes played, and Telstra Stadium erupts.
You were here, and you saw the...
Yeah, we were actually sat in these places,
like
weren't we?
Yeah, that was you there.
Facing the other way, obviously.
And facing here, and when I walked in here just now, I looked at the kind of length of the room, because I recall almost being so emotional, being unable to watch, you know. You know, and that is as ridiculous as it sounds, obviously, right? But particularly the penalty shootout. I actually wasn't here next to you in the penalty shootout. I was some steps that way, and I remember, and I remember I was kind of just, you know, just peering over, right? Because it was almost too much that I didn't physically want to watch it.
I went home that night thinking we're going to get smashed for that call.
Yeah, right.
Because it was too emotional.
Yes.
And yet, as it's turned out, because Australia won, and this is a good lesson, I guess, that everybody is so emotionally invested in sport, because Australia won, I think it's been remembered in the right way, and that's great.
You were the pro, and I'm you know, a heavily invested former player with many teammates on the field in a moment that we knew in Australian sporting history was momentous, win or lose. And so I just say, look, I recognise on a professional level that it was bad. but the thing is, it kind of worked, because what happened was people at home were doing what I was doing. And I always tell them about you, because I say this juxtaposition was really kind of nice, because you were trying to fulfil your professional duties.
I was doing my best.
And, you know, particularly when it went in, of course, you know, and I always say to people, just listen to it back, and what you'll hear is Simon trying to deliver something professional, and me just shouting him
yelping
down.
over the top.
First penalty, Australia. Goal. Beautifully put away by Harry Kewell.
Sheer class, Harry.
During the shootout, I was actually crying. And everyone will know. But
you weren't helping me very much.
I wasn't helping you. And what happened is I lost count.
So did I.
You lost count, did you? Right.
If you remember,
but you were putting on your sheet.
I was writing on
like
the
a
sheet. But, and here was the thing, and I think the combination of the tension, my tiredness, your emotion, and I remember when Schwartzy made the second save.
Oh, great save again by Schwartzy!
Huge save!
Wonderful save!
And you delivered a very good line, actually. I'm sorry, it's the biggest save we've seen. And
it's as big as we've ever seen in Australia. I'm sorry, it is.
I remember just out of the corner of my eye seeing John Aloisi walking very slowly amongst all the mayhem, very purposefully towards the penalty spot, and my mind completely went a blank, and I knew you weren't going to help me because you were gone.
No, so I was over here somewhere.
Yeah, you were over there somewhere.
Yeah. That means that if John Aloisi can score this goal, Australia will be there.
In the mayhem of the moment, I couldn't figure it out. It was tiredness and emotion and everything else. And so I started, you can hear on the call me saying, so that means if, and I grabbed Nick Christou physically and said, if they score this goal, and I was looking for confirmation from him,
so
if they score
this
goal...
You pressed mute and you asked him?
No, I was saying this on air. If Australia score this, that means if we score this goal, then Australia are there. And Nick had this moment of blind panic on his face, because all of a sudden I'd thrust this responsibility on him, and he did the old... And got the thumbs up just at the moment, and I turned back and I said, here's Johnny Aloisi for a place in the World Cup.
And when you said that, is that when I said, are you sure?
Yes. Which didn't help me either.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to do my maths.
4-2. He wins it for us. John.
Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup.
For us.
He scored! Australia have done it!
Come on!
John Aloisi, the Confederations Cup hero, has done it in the biggest game of all.
Come on, Australia! Johnny Warren!
I mean, the Johnny Warren stuff you know, was a great example of just the emotion of the moment. Because what happened is, I remember, you know, the penalty went in and so on. And of course the night was so much about Johnny, you know, rightly so. We had here, just on our left when we were looking out, you know, I remember walking in and picking up and just seeing big "I told you so" banner, and I think it might have been the Green and Gold Army, but they had this whole section was virtually Johnny Warren, right? And so, you know, that was hugely emotional, you know, to see that. And in that moment when it happened, what I thought was, Johnny Warren told you so. But I was so emotional, I couldn't get the second bit out. And so what happened is I just screamed Johnny Warren. And as ridiculous as it is, you know, people have kind of liked it because I got him in there. But it would have been a great line, but I just couldn't, because what happened is, as it happened and Johnny reeled away and he, you know, he was running off that way and everyone was going crazy. And we were in tears, as you know, I was physically in tears.
32 years, Simon. 32 years. These guys, they've done it for the country. It's something very, very special. And they put football on the map in this country.
I remember after the game walking out and people were, you know, going crazy, obviously. And there was a Indonesian, Australian elderly man who came up to Les and I and said, you know, this is, you know, amazing. And he said, this is the first, I've been here 25 years or something, and he said, this is the first time that I genuinely feel Australian. Right? Yeah. And Les and I were basically in tears with him, because we said, why? What do you mean? He said, well, because on this night we had this multicultural team do this. I was in the crowd in my green and gold, and I felt that I was one and the same as everyone else in this 80,000+. And Australia was playing the game that I love. Yeah. Was playing the game that I brought from Indonesia here. You know, and we said to him, that's exactly right.
I'll tell you a little secret. Me too.
Right.
That was the night that it changed for me as well. Right. Because it became not just the team I was calling, right, but also, by extension, you know, my team that I wanted to win as well.
This is a team from every community in Australia. It's our team, and our team are going to the World Cup.